Hello, my name's Chris Athanas. I'm a KMP developer, Kotlin Multi-Platform developer, and today I want to be reviewing the Fred's Roadtrip Storyteller app, the parsing of the data for the website from the website. I want to discuss how that works, and I have got a little slideshow I prepared. Okay, So I have a data source. We're using the data source we're using is the hmdb.org. It's a publicly available, publicly accessible database. There's no user accounts or anything like that. Well, you have to have a user account to update the markers, but you don't need an account to download. So um, and I checked, there's no publicly available API. There's no API access to this. So I decided to use a scraper, which is legit. I'm not planning on overloading the servers. Planning on talking to him at some point, the owner of the site. He seems to be trying to encourage people to learn about history and specifically the historical markers because they are, it's a piece of history that is definitely going away if we're not careful. Um, but it comes from this website here, hmdb.org. And go give him a click and a like, support, and go check out his site. Um, and then we're going to talk about the code that basically accesses his website as a user, a regular web user, and then scrapes. And the library that we're going to be using, the library that I'm using is called KSoup, Kotlin Native. It's a KMM library. The pro part of it is it's very efficient in processing because it's a single pass. It goes from top to bottom in the document, single pass, one time. It's not random access to the document. It's a one time pass, and it goes from top to bottom. And I didn't really see very many examples on how to actually do the web scraping, but I think this product or this library is really intended for other purposes, but people have used it for web scraping. Unfortunately, there's no other web scraping tools or HTML document parsing tools out there um, that I could find. So this is the one I decided to use, and I just suffered through it. I don't know. This is why I'm making this video because it wasn't obvious what the heck was going on. So the con is you have to use these start and end metaphors. So you hit an HTML tag, you start collecting the text that's in the tag, that's inside the tag, and then when it hits the closing tag, it stops the text collection or some other arbitrary thing inside that HTML tag group. So it's man, it was kind of a bear to get this thing figured out. But now that I figured it out, you guys have a great example of how to use a web scraper. Yeah, so a lot of this is like a very trial and error because the way it operates, it's not a go give me this tag that and extract the text like you would expect. It's just it's very odd. I understand why they did it this way, and it does work very actually quite well. But it's just hard to program it, and a little bit hard to debug it as well. So my conclusion is maybe this wasn't the explicit design of the library, because the way you would normally do this in JavaScript is you just go get an HTML tag and then you just take out features of it, but it's written in Kotlin and it's Kotlin native, so we can work on iOS and whatever else we want to work with. But until something better comes along, or some other library is ported that may work better someplace else, this is what we got. It works. So I want to go to the code here. So inside the app, inside app here, which is at the top level, during the initialization code, it sets up this it calls this function, which basically sets up the this scraper routine, which is not the scraper routine. This is the thing that actually sets up to see if it needs to go load more markers. So I've got a little note up here how this works. First thing we do is we check for if there's cache markers, and we use those markers. This is all part of the loading sequence. Um, check if the user location is outside the the reload max radius. So it's to check to see. Oh, the dog starts barking. To check to see if you need to load a marker, if it's outside, if the user has gone outside the load radius. So that's what that is. I'll explain this probably in the next video, like how this whole internal core works. But right now it's just going through here at the step 4, which is to parse the markers, and that happens right here. So I've tried to number them here to make it clear in my mind when I go back and here to fix this stuff, which it's been pretty solid actually since I got it working, which was exciting considering how this stuff is set up. So here's the parse markers uh, function, and basically what it does first is it checks to see so we got 2 different handlers here, but we have this first one here which uses this ksoup HTML handler type, which basically it returns this builder function that basically checks for certain values as the document is scanned from top to bottom. So in this case, it's going to be looking for the tag of span, looking for the class, it's looking for an attribute of type class, and it has to be the value has to be of that key value is section head, and that's the way that's how I check if it's a single marker page or a multiple marker page from that HMDB database. So this is all trial and error. I had to go look through the code, and actually I have I have all the stuff, the tests built for this, because this is definitely something that lends itself to a TDD type of operation. So these tests I'll run and pass. And this is that parse details marker page. This is part of the details. We're doing just the markers. So there's the markers, which is a list of like the titles and their locations. And then there's the details, which is a separate different call. And I do both of them, of course, in the app. So here's where it generates generates the sample data page. So this is what the HTML looks like. It's typical HTML page, and it's good that his stuff is kind of old and it doesn't use JavaScript all over the place. Just he uses plain old HTML, so that made it a lot easier parsing this stuff. So I've got the tests set up here. You can look at the tests. They're pretty robust and test all kinds of stuff. And the functionality should all be there. And I haven't covered all the edge cases for that I've seen in the wild, but I'm getting 95% with the details, 100% with the markers, parsing the markers page. That's always the same. But this one, he's got ads on his page, so sometimes the ads get in the middle, and I haven't figured out how that works yet, which I will eventually. I just, I'm at 99% of the marker details come in fine, so I'm just like, okay, I'll leave that late to later. So basically it checks to see if it's on a single handler, and it does it all the magic happens down, where is it, right here, ksoup parser right. So this thing, this ksoup parser right here. So first thing I do is I check to see by passing the raw HTML with this parser right. That just doesn't make any sense. Why? It's very Java-like. It's like you take the object and you pass it. Anyway, this is how it works, okay? And then you have to call this end on it, which will then run through this routine, setting these variables up here from inside here, which I then check here. You can see it's like this one, it sets it in here, and then we check it down here, and then depending on which one, we're gonna do even more parsing. So this builds up this marker details string, and the parsing happens with a single marker page. It's really simple. It actually doesn't really do anything special. It just uses the meta tags, but it's very rare to have a single marker. Most of them have more than one marker in that page, and then you have this capturing text thing. So I mean, this one is relatively simple to do. This one, okay, this is not the one that's super complicated. This one's actually pretty straightforward, even with multiple markers. It's this parse marker details. So when you go to look at the details of the marker, that's the stuff that has all this junk in the middle of it. That you have to do all this. I had to do all this checks and like, I don't know, it was. You'll see in the code. You can see in the code here. So hold on a sec. So here is the handler for the marker details. The marker details. I should change this to marker details, not marker info. Marker details. Details page. Okay. So these are all those semaphore flags I was talking about, where you have to like, is it capturing the photo caption? Oh, okay. So down here, when a tag is opened, like for is capturing a photo caption. Let me see here. Is a multi-language is a marker photo caption here. Is capturing a photo caption. Boom. So as it gets a tag, as it goes through the document, the HTML document, you'll see this div. Oh, does this div have an attribute of class with the image caption? Oh, it does. So that means that when the text is this on text is captured, it says, oh, okay, we are capturing text. Okay, we're capturing text. And then we're capturing photos. So this is how it works. It only does one text thing. It only has a callback for text, and it doesn't know which tag it is. It just, oh, I'm capturing text now. So this part is kind of annoying, but this semaphore thing works pretty good. And some of them have like extra phases, like you have to do a two-step thing. So I try to keep that I note that here, which I'm in phase 1 now, and then I'm in phase 2, and I'm in complete. Sometimes when I have to skip over an ad, I'll use this double phase thing. So you can see kind of what I'm doing there. Super confusing at first to try and figure this out, honestly. Very not intuitive. It definitely needs a different API for this kind of work, but it works and you can use this technique. It's really replicatable for any generic case. So that's what's cool about this. And of course the test, it shows you how to test all this stuff so you can see how it all works. And yeah, if you could give me a like and subscribe, that would be super awesome, and to keep me encouraged and keep me going on this project, which I'm going to go anyway, but it's nice to get feedback. Yeah, that's about it, I think. Guess stay tuned for part 5 coming soon.